Hi loves, welcome to another sewing tutorial on olives, and today I'm going to share with you how to draft and sew a front style crop top. So if this is why you clicked on this video, then please keep on watching. We will first draft the back and we'll use the back to cut the front. Okay, so here is the starting line as well as the shoulder line. So right from the shoulder line, I'll measure shoulder to chest, shoulder to length of top plus half-inch hemming allowance. I'll mark this across, and to know the amount of paper to use, divide your bust by 4 and add extra 1 inch. So on the shoulder line, we'll mark half of across back plus half an inch joining allowance, and we'll mark the same thing on the chest line. On the chest line, quarter of your bust plus 1 inch for sewing allowance. I'll use a neck width of 3.5. From the shoulder line, we'll come down by 1 inch as shoulder slope. Now we'll take half of the armhole. We'll go in from the armhole by half an inch. That will be for the back, and 0.75 for the front. So add half an inch on the shoulder line. So I'll take a back neck width of 0.75. That's less than 1 inch. And I'll connect that like this. We'll then connect the armhole together. So that is it for the back armhole. On the waistline, quarter of the waist plus 1 inch. So that is it for the back. So we are going to place the back pattern onto another paper, and we'll trace out the back. So now for the front, you should have at least an extension of 3 to 4 inches. That's from the center back. From the shoulder line, mark how deep you want the front to be. So for this, I'll just come down by half an inch from the chest line. I'll use an extension of 5 inches for the front. I'll go up from here by 3.5 inches. With freehand, I'll use the pencil to connect the neckline of the front, just to see how it will look before I use the marker. So I'm going to connect the neckline to the half inch here, then connect it back to the 5 inches extension. At this point, I realized that it was too low, so I'll raise it a little to the 5-inch mark. Now from this point, we are going to connect to the side. We use 1 inch side seam allowance, so I'm going to mark that 1 inch and connect from there to here. Now the width of the belt depends on you, so I'm going to use 2 inches, and I need about 1 inch to hem the top and the lower part. So I'll connect, that will be 3 inches, then I'll connect like this. This armhole is for the back, so we'll mark for the front. The front will just go in by 0.25 here, and I'll connect that as well. I'll use this material for the top, and it's about 1.5 yards. So we'll cut the front first. So I'll fold the material into two, place the pattern on it, pin and cut. The material wouldn't be enough if I have the back on fold, so I'm going to fold it into two. I'll place the back pattern on it, having an allowance at the back to join them together. To cut the sleeve, I'll fold the material into four. I'll measure around the armhole, and that will be enough for the fold. Now we are going to mark the length of the sleeve. Then we'll add 1.5 inch for joining allowance, 1 inch for hemming allowance. From the starting line, I'll mark the cap's height. Then I'll place the tape like this to mark 9 inches. That is what I got for the round armhole. Then I'll slant it this way. With my free hand, I'll curve the sleeve. That will be for the front. I'll curve in just about 0.25. I'll mark shoulder to elbow plus 1/2 inch. We'll mark half of the round elbow plus 1 inch for sewing allowance on the hem, half of the round wrist plus 1 inch. I'll notch the center and also notch the elbow line just for identification. Then I'll open the sleeve this way. There are two, so I'm just going to cut the front. You know, the front armhole is different from the back armhole. We are going to have the belt on fold, so it's about 2.5. You know, the belt will be 2 inches, so 1/2 inch to knitting the edge. So that is 2.5, and the length depends on you. This length is about 44 inches. So we are going to cut a strap of 1.5 inches to knitting the neckline of the top. I've gone ahead to knitting all the parts, and we are going to fold the hem. Now by the time the sleeve was knitting, 1/2 inch from the hemming allowance was off, so I just hemmed it with 1/2 inch. I'll place both back together, and then I'll go ahead and stitch. I'll place the back onto the front. I'll join the sides and also the shoulder. So we are going to hem the lower part with just 1/2 inch, and we'll do this from one end through to the other end. We'll sew the belt together with 1/2 inch, and before we do this, we'll fold the rough edge to the wrong side like this, and then fold it into 2 this way. I would advise that you don't stitch exactly 2 inches, leave a space of 2.25. This will help insert both ends of the top into the belt with ease. Going from the edge like this by 1 inch and stitch like this to this end. We will measure around the armhole of the top, and that is what we use to sew the sleeves. So I'm going to mark the sleeve like this as well, and wherever the measurement you had ends, you stop there. And we also use 1 inch as allowance, so you can as well mark that 1 inch, and then we are going to stitch to the hem. To knitting the neckline, we are going to fold the strap into 2 like this, and instead of using the strap, you might want to just knitting around the neckline and hem it with 1/2 inch. Okay, so I'll pin the strap to the neckline, and we'll stitch. Then after stitching, we are going to turn the strap to the wrong side like this. I'll trim off excess, and since the neckline is not straight, I'll notch, and I'm going to turn it to the wrong side. Now, in case you use a strap that is not the same as the material, you have to understitch, and after understitching, then you turn. This side of the top is supposed to be 2 inches, and since I used the strap to turn it, it's not up to the 1/2 inch, so I had more than 2 inches here. So for the hemming, I hemmed more than 1/2 inch so I could have the 2 inches here. We'll trim off the excess on the belt and turn it inside out. Now we have the edge knitting already, so we'll place this part of the front into the belt like this. So try your best to just adjust the edge into the belt. So we'll top stitch like this on both ends. So for the sleeve, the notch part, that's the center of the sleeve, we'll place it together with the shoulder seam line, pin, and also pin together the armholes of both the sleeve and the top. So stitch around the armhole. I hope you've enjoyed this video and you've learned something as well. If you did, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notification bell. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next one.